The crystalline displays aboard the Zethurian research vessel Quantum Seeker flickered with new data as Chief Scientist Vihara adjusted her sensory tendrils. Her iridescent scales shifted from deep blue to an excited purple as she processed the readings. Director M. Hiron, you need to see this immediately. The ship's director, a towering figure with silvery plating and neural interfaces scattered across their exoskeleton, glided across the observation deck. What have you found, Chief Scientist? A human warship, designation HMS Defiant, has entered the outer reaches of the Carina Nebula. But the readings… Vihara's voice trailed off as she manipulated the holographic display, expanding the sensor data into a three-dimensional representation. Director M. Hiron's neural interfaces pulsed with increased activity. Impossible, run the scans again. The human vessel hung in space like a predator waiting to strike. Unlike the sleek, organic curves of Zethurian ships, the HMS Defiant was all angles and armored plates, bristling with weapon systems and sensor arrays. But it wasn't the ship's impressive armament that had captured their attention, it was the biological readings from its crew. Third scan complete, Vihara announced, her scales now shifting to a concerned yellow. The data remains consistent. These humans, their biological makeup defies conventional evolution. Their endocrine system alone produces more variants of chemical signals than any species we've encountered. Lead researcher Kez, who had been quietly analyzing the data from his station, raised his crystalline appendages in a gesture of academic excitement. Look at their skeletal structure, it's constantly regenerating, and their nervous system. They can voluntarily override pain responses. In any other species, these would be considered severe mutations, yet they've integrated these traits into their baseline biology. Director M. Hiron moved closer to the main display, neural interfaces now glowing a deep red. What are their current activities? Standard patrol patterns, Vihara replied. They appear to be conducting systematic surveys of the nebula, but Director, their crew is engaging in what appears to be combat training while on patrol. They're actively stressing their bodies to improve performance. The observation deck fell silent as the implications sank in. The Zethurians had encountered many species during their scientific expeditions, but none quite like this. A species that deliberately subjected itself to hardship to grow stronger was disturbing. Show me their weapon systems, M. Hiron commanded. The holographic display shifted, highlighting the Defiant's impressive array of offensive and defensive capabilities. Kez manipulated the display, zooming in on specific systems. Their weapons are remarkably redundant, multiple backup systems, manual overrides. They've designed this ship to continue fighting even after sustaining critical damage. A species that expects to be wounded, M. Hiron mused, yet continues to fight. Fascinating and terrifying in equal measure. Suddenly, the ship's AI nexus interrupted with an urgent alert. Director, the human vessel's sensor sweep has changed pattern. They appear to be conducting a more focused scan of this sector. Vihara's scales shifted to alarm white. Have they detected us? Negative, Nexus responded. But their search pattern suggests they may have noticed the gravitational distortion from our cloaking field. Director M. Hiron's decision was immediate. Initiate full biological and technological analysis. If these humans are as adaptable as they appear, we need to understand them before they understand us. Kez, begin compiling a first contact risk assessment. Vihara, I want detailed analysis of their biological capabilities. As the crew rushed to comply, M. Hiron continued studying the human vessel. On one of the secondary displays, they watched as two human crew members conducted repairs on the outer hull, protected from the vacuum of space by what seemed to be remarkably primitive environmental suits. Look at them, Vihara whispered, her scales now a mix of fear and fascination. They're treating the vacuum of space as merely an inconvenience. Most species would never risk exposing themselves to such conditions for routine maintenance. Perhaps that's why they're out here, Kez suggested, his crystalline form refracting light in patterns of deep thought. Their entire biology seems designed for survival in hostile conditions. What if they're not just exploring? What if they're looking for challenges to overcome? Director M. Hiron's neural interfaces pulsed with rapid calculations. The decision they would make here could affect the future of both species. Continue observing and risk detection, initiate first contact, or retreat and warn the Zethurian Science Council about this remarkable and potentially dangerous species. Before they could voice their decision, Nexus announced with synthetic urgency, Director, the human vessel has altered course. They are now moving directly toward the sector containing our gravitational distortion. The observation deck erupted into controlled chaos as the Zethurians faced their first real test against human ingenuity. They were about to learn whether their advanced technology could match humanity's relentless drive to explore, understand, and overcome any challenge in their path. Captain Jihan Patel stood at the center of HMS Defiance Bridge, her dark eyes fixed on the holographic display showing an apparently empty sector of space. 20 years of deep space experience had taught her to trust her instincts, and right now, those instincts were screaming that something was wrong. Lieutenant Joe, run another quantum variance scan on grid sector 7, she ordered, keeping her voice deliberately casual. Focus on gravitational microfluctuations. Aye, Captain, Joe responded, his fingers dancing across the sensor console. The young officer had earned his reputation as one of the fleet's most talented sensor specialists, and Patel had specifically requested him for this mission. Chief Security Officer Marcus Henderson leaned against his tactical station, his cybernetic eye whirring softly as it processed the sensor data in real time. They're good, whoever they are. Traditional cloaking technology would have left plasma traces, but this, he shook his head in admiration. This is something new. Or something very old, Dr. Ramira Akafer interjected from her science station. The xenobiologist had been studying the anomalous readings for hours, her augmented neural interface processing patterns faster than any conventional computer. The energy signature doesn't match any known species in our database, but there are similarities to theoretical models of advanced quantum manipulation. Patel allowed herself a small smile. Her crew was the best in the fleet, each chosen not just for their skills but for their ability to think beyond conventional military doctrine. The Defiant might look like a warship to outsiders, but her true purpose was first contact and xenological research. The heavy armament was simply a pragmatic acknowledgement that not all first contacts went smoothly. Captain, Joe called out, excitement creeping into his voice, I'm detecting a pattern in the quantum fluctuations. It's subtle, but there's definitely something there. Size estimate suggests a vessel approximately 1.5 times our mass. Henderson's cybernetic eye flashed red. They're scanning us, deep penetration scans way beyond anything in our technical database. They're looking at everything, hull composition, internal layout, crew biosignatures. Let them look, Patel decided, surprising her bridge crew. Tactical, maintain current alert status but do not raise shields. Dr. Akafer, what can you tell me about our observers? Ramira's neural interface pulsed with blue light as she processed the incoming data. The scanning technology they're using, it's fascinating. They're not just looking at our physical structure, they're analyzing our cellular composition, neural patterns, even our genetic code. This isn't a military reconnaissance, it's scientific research. Scientists with a cloaking device? Henderson questioned, his organic eye narrowing skeptically. Why not? Patel challenged. We're technically a research vessel with enough firepower to level a small continent. Speaking of which, how's our new crew handling the stress training, Chief? Henderson checked his tactical display. Combat simulation in Cargo Bay 3 is proceeding on schedule. Lieutenant Commander Ortiz is running the rookies through vacuum exposure drills. Standard protocol, 5 minutes exposure with minimal protection. Dr. Akafer's neural interface flickered with concern. Our friends out there are paying particular attention to those drills. Their scan intensity just spiked by 300%. Patel nodded thoughtfully. They're studying us, learning how we operate, what we're capable of. She turned to her communications officer. Lieutenant Reed, prepare a first contact package. Standard greeting, but add something special, include footage from our training sessions, medical records of injury recovery, and documentation of our adaptation protocols. Ma'am, Reed asked, surprised by the unusual request. If they're scientists, they're probably trying to understand us. Let's help them out. Patel's eyes returned to the seemingly empty space on the main viewer. And let's show them that we know they're there, but we're choosing not to treat them as a threat. The bridge crew worked in focused silence for several minutes before Henderson spoke again. Captain, they've altered their position, maintaining the same relative distance, but they've moved to match our course change exactly. Good, Patel said. That means they're curious but cautious. Perfect combination for a peaceful first contact. She straightened her uniform. Mr. Joe, plot a course directly through their sector. Let's see how they react when we get too close to ignore. Are we sure that's wise, Captain? Henderson asked. his cybernetic eye scanning tactical scenarios. Humanity didn't get to the stars by being overly cautious, Chief, Patel replied. Besides, if they wanted to attack, they've had plenty of opportunities. No, they're studying us, trying to understand us. And sometimes the best way to understand something is to interact with it directly. The Defiant's engines hummed as it adjusted course, heading straight for the invisible vessel. On the bridge, the crew maintained their professional composure, but there was an undercurrent of excitement. First contact situations were rare, and ones with species advanced enough to completely cloak their vessels were even rarer. Dr. Akafar, Patel called. What's your assessment of their technological level based on what we've seen? Ramira's neural interface pulsed rapidly as she compiled her analysis. Their scanning technology is at least 3 generations ahead of ours. The cloaking system operates on principles we've only theorized about. But, she paused, checking her readings again, their hull composition is surprisingly similar to ours, suggesting they face similar physical challenges in space travel. So advanced but not incomprehensible, Patel mused. Good, that gives us common ground to work with. She squared her shoulders and addressed her crew. Whatever happens next, remember, we're not just representing the HMS Defiant or even the fleet. We're representing humanity. Let's show our hidden friends out there exactly what that means. Director M. Hiron's neural interfaces flashed in alarm patterns as the human vessel continued its deliberate approach. They're forcing our hand, they announced to the Quantum Seeker's command deck. Vihara, final assessment. The humans know we're here, the chief scientist replied, her scales shifting through shades of analytical blue. Their approach is too precise to be coincidence, but Director, they haven't raised shields or charged weapons. They're making themselves vulnerable. Or showing confidence, Kez countered, his crystalline form refracting light in complex patterns of concern. The latest analysis of their training sessions suggests they regularly practice fighting while compromised. Perhaps this is another form of training. The tension on the deck heightened as the HMS Defiant grew larger on their main display. The human ship's angular design seemed even more intimidating at close range, its weapon ports visible but deliberately inactive. They're broadcasting, Nexus announced. Multiple frequencies using basic mathematical sequences as a foundation. They've included data packets. Analysis, M. Hiron commanded. The packets contain biological data about themselves, Vihara reported, her scales shifting to surprised gold. Medical records, training protocols, recovery statistics. They're showing us exactly what we've been trying to learn. They're acknowledging us, M. Hiron realized, and offering information freely. Their neural interfaces pulsed with rapid calculations before reaching a decision. Disengage cloaking systems. If they're willing to be vulnerable, we must show equal trust. Aboard the HMS Defiant, Captain Patel watched with satisfaction as the alien vessel shimmered into visibility. Its biomechanical design was unlike anything in human records, a seamless blend of crystalline structures and living metal that seemed to pulse with its own inner light. Beautiful, Dr. Akafar breathed, her neural interface struggling to process the complexity of what they were seeing. The ship appears to be partially organic, those crystalline formations. They're not just decorative, they're functional components. Multiple energy signatures powering up, Henderson reported, his cybernetic eye scanning rapidly. But no weapons signatures I can detect. They're activating communication arrays. They're responding to our broadcast, Lieutenant Reed confirmed. Similar mathematical base, but there's something else. Doctor, you need to see this. Dr. Akafar's eyes widened as she analyzed the incoming data. They're sending us their biological data in return, showing us exactly what they are just as we showed them what we are. She paused, processing more information. Captain, their biology is fascinating. They appear to be a silicon-based life form with crystalline components integrated into their neural structure. Can we communicate beyond mathematics? Patel asked. Working on linguistic patterns now, Reed responded. Their language seems to have both audio and light components. The universal translator is, wait, they're sending something new. The main screen flickered and resolved into an image that made the bridge crew collectively catch their breath. It showed the alien crew, their crystalline and metallic bodies moving with fluid grace through their ship's interior. But what caught everyone's attention was what they were doing, conducting their own training exercises, clearly mimicking the human practices they had observed. They're learning from us, Patel said softly. Even while they were studying us, they were adapting our methods. The peaceful moment was shattered by a sudden alert from Henderson. Captain, multiple ships dropping out of FTL, energy signatures match neither our technology nor our new friends. The alien vessel's next transmission needed no translation, it was clearly a warning. New data flooded the Defiant systems, showing tactical information about the approaching ships. Pirates, Dr. Akafer translated quickly. The crystalline beings are calling them the Consumed, apparently some kind of cybernetically corrupted species that raids this sector. Patel's decision was immediate. Signal the alien vessel we stand with them, tactical battle stations, let's show our new friends what humans do best. The Quantum Seeker's command deck erupted with activity as the pirate vessels approached. Director M. Hiron watched in fascination as the human ship moved to a defensive position alongside them, its weapon systems finally coming online. The humans are transmitting tactical data, Nexus reported. There, suggesting a coordinated defense strategy. These pirates have plagued our research missions for years, Vihara noted, her scales now a determined red. Perhaps it's time to test if human combat adaptability is as impressive as their training suggests. Accept their tactical link, M. Hiron commanded. Kez, coordinate our defense systems with theirs. Let's see what our species can accomplish together. The space around both ships began to fill with the ominous shapes of the pirate vessels, crude, asymmetrical ships covered in stolen technology and sporting obvious weapon modifications. They had expected easy prey in the form of a lone research vessel. Instead, they found themselves facing an unprecedented alliance. The humans are moving to engage, Kez reported, his crystalline form gleaming with battle readiness. Their tactical approach is unusual. They're not maximizing their shield coverage. No, M. Hiron observed, neural interfaces pulsing with sudden understanding. They're leaving themselves partially exposed to draw fire away from us. They're using their legendary resilience as a tactical advantage. As the first pirate ships opened fire, both crews were about to learn valuable lessons about each other. The Zethurians would witness firsthand the infamous human capacity for controlled aggression, while the humans would discover that their new allies' scientific expertise could be just as devastating as any conventional weapon. The battle was about to become a testament to what two very different species could achieve when they chose to trust rather than fear each other's differences. The void erupted with energy as the pirate fleet opened fire. The HMS Defiant's response was immediate and devastating, not in spite of the damage it took, but because of it. Captain Patel watched with grim satisfaction as her ship absorbed a direct hit to its port side, using the momentum to swing into an attack position. Hull breach on decks 3 through 5, Henderson reported calmly, his cybernetic eye glowing intensely. Emergency force fields holding, damage control teams responding exactly as drilled. Return fire, pattern Delta 7, Patel commanded. Show our new friends what happens when you wound a human ship but don't kill it. The Defiant's weapons blazed to life, targeting the nearest pirate vessel with terrifying precision. But what happened next stunned even the experienced human crew. The Quantum Seeker, instead of firing conventional weapons, projected a complex field of crystalline energy that somehow amplified the Defiant's attack by an order of magnitude. Incredible, Dr. Akafer breathed, her neural interface practically humming with excitement. They're using their scientific instruments as weapons, converting our kinetic energy into something more. Aboard the Quantum Seeker, Director M. Hiron's neural interfaces pulsed with tactical calculations as they witnessed human combat doctrine in action. They're not just fighting, they observed. They're learning with each exchange. The humans are incorporating damage into their strategy, Kez added, his crystalline form vibrating with both fear and admiration. Every hit they take, they adapt their shield harmonics to better resist it. Their tactical officer appears to be using his cybernetic enhancements to process combat data in real time. The pirate fleet, expecting easy prey, found themselves caught between two radically different but complementary combat styles. The Defiant moved like a wounded predator, each injury only making it more dangerous, while the Quantum Seeker turned the pirates' own energy weapons against them through precise scientific manipulation. Captain, Lieutenant Joe called out from his sensor station, the alien vessel, they're transmitting targeting data, but it's like nothing I've ever seen. They're not aiming at the ships, they're targeting specific energy frequencies. Patel understood immediately. They're scientists first, they don't see ships, they see patterns to be disrupted. Henderson, sync our targeting computers with their data. Let's combine our brute force with their precision. The next exchange demonstrated the devastating potential of this partnership. The Defiant's weapons struck precisely where the Quantum Seeker's analysis indicated structural weaknesses, while the alien vessel's energy fields transformed the pirates' return fire into usable power. 3 enemy vessels disabled, Henderson reported, a rare note of admiration in his voice. Their shield harmonics are completely destabilized. The aliens' analysis was perfect. On the Quantum Seeker's command deck, Vihara's scales had shifted to a deep purple of intellectual excitement. The humans adapt faster than any species we've encountered. They're already adjusting their attack patterns to maximize the effectiveness of our energy conversion fields. And their damage control teams, Kez added, they're not just repairing damage, they're actively modifying their ship systems during combat. The efficiency is terrifying. The battle's turning point came when the largest pirate vessel attempted to ram the Quantum Seeker. The Defiant's response demonstrated why humans had survived countless conflicts. Without hesitation, Patel ordered her ship to intercept, taking the brunt of the impact. Hull integrity at 47%, Henderson announced, his organic eye showing concern while his cybernetic one continued processing tactical data. But we've got them right where we want them. Now, Patel ordered. The Quantum Seeker's scientists had seconds to witness human ingenuity at its finest. The Defiant, systems damaged but far from defeated, locked onto the pirate vessel with magnetic grapples. Rather than try to break free, they used the connection to channel energy directly into the enemy ship systems. Energy spike detected, Nexus warned. The humans they're overloading their own power systems. No, Emhiran realized, neural interfaces blazing with sudden understanding. They're creating a conduit. Kez, synchronize our energy conversion fields now. The resulting cascade was spectacular. The Defiant channeled its excess power through the physical connection, while the Quantum Seeker's fields transformed it into a wave of destructive energy that rippled through the entire pirate fleet. Ships began losing power, their stolen technology overloading under the combined assault of human determination and alien scientific precision. Remaining enemy vessels are powering down, Henderson reported. Their systems are completely scrambled, security teams standing by for boarding action. The bridge of the Defiant fell silent as the crew processed what they had just accomplished. Working with an alien species they'd met barely an hour ago, they defeated a superior force through a combination of human resilience and Zethurian scientific brilliance. Open a channel to our allies, Patel ordered, straightening her singed uniform. I believe we have much to discuss. The main screen came to life, showing Director Emhiran and their command crew. The Zethurians' crystalline form seemed to shimmer with new patterns, respect, fascination, and perhaps a touch of wariness. Captain Patel, Emhiran's neural interfaces pulsed in time with their words. It seems our species have much to learn from each other. Indeed, Patel agreed, allowing herself a small smile. Though I suspect you've already learned quite a bit from studying us. As you have learned from our response to your arrival, Emhiran acknowledged, perhaps we could continue our mutual education under less dramatic circumstances. The two commanders regarded each other with newfound respect, each recognizing in the other a different but equally valid approach to surviving the challenges of space. The battle had proved that their differences could be strengths when properly combined. In the aftermath of the battle, both ships hung in space alongside each other, repair crews from both vessels working in tandem. Through the observation window of the Defiant's main conference room, Captain Patel watched with fascination as Zethurian repair technicians used crystalline energy fields to accelerate the healing of her ship's biometal hull components, a technology they'd adapted within hours of studying human engineering. Inside the conference room, the mood was one of cautious optimism as both crews shared their perspectives on the recent battle. Dr. Akafer's neural interface pulsed steadily as she compared notes with Chief Scientist Vihara, their discussion ranging from biological adaptations to theoretical physics. Your ability to channel excess energy through your ship systems, Vihara noted, her scales shifting through shades of academic curiosity. It should have destroyed your power grid. That's because you're thinking of systems as they should work, Henderson interjected, his cybernetic eye analyzing the Zethurians' crystalline structure. Humans tend to focus on what we can make them do. Director M. Hiron's neural interfaces flickered with what the humans had learned to recognize as amusement. You turn damage into advantage, defeat into opportunity. It defies logical analysis. That's humanity's greatest strength, Patel responded, pouring a drink for herself and offering one to M. Hiron, who accepted it with careful curiosity. We don't just survive adversity, we learn from it, adapt to it, and ultimately overcome it. Yet you chose not to respond with hostility when you detected our surveillance, Kez observed, his crystalline form refracting the room's light in contemplative patterns. You turned our scientific curiosity into an opportunity for peaceful contact. Because we recognized kindred spirits, Dr. Akafer explained. Your ship, your crew, your explorers like us. You seek to understand the universe through science while we often learn through direct experience. Different approaches, same goal. The discussion was interrupted by Lieutenant Joe's voice over the intercom. Captain, we've finished analyzing the data recovered from the pirate vessels. You're going to want to see this. The tactical display in the conference room activated, showing a map of nearby sectors. Red markers indicated suspected pirate bases and raid patterns, revealing a much larger operation than either species had suspected. They've been systematically targeting research vessels, Vihara realized, her scales darkening with concern. Not just Zethurian ships, but any vessel dedicated to scientific exploration. Knowledge pirates, M. Hiron's neural interfaces pulsed with anger. They steal advanced technology without understanding its principles, leading to dangerous and unstable applications. Captain Patel studied the map thoughtfully. They didn't expect us to work together. No one did. That's why they were so easily defeated. They had no protocols for dealing with human tactical adaptability combined with Zethurian scientific precision. Then perhaps, Director M. Hiron suggested, their neural interfaces brightening. We should ensure they face this combination more often. The implications of that statement hung in the air for a moment before Dr. Akafer spoke. Are you proposing an official alliance? More than that, M. Hiron replied. I'm proposing a joint mission. Your ship, designed for both research and combat, combined with our scientific expertise. We could protect other research vessels while advancing both our species' understanding of the galaxy. Henderson's cybernetic eye whirred as he processed the tactical advantages. The pirates wouldn't stand a chance, and with our combined technologies, we could achieve breakthroughs neither of our species could reach alone, Vihara finished, her scales now glowing with excitement. Captain Patel turned to face the viewport, watching as human and Zethurian repair crews continued their collaborative work. When we first detected your ship, both our species had a choice. You could have retreated, we could have attacked. Instead, we chose curiosity over fear, understanding over suspicion. And in doing so, M. Hiron added, moving to stand beside her, we discovered something remarkable. Your biological adaptability, your ability to grow stronger through adversity, we initially saw it as potentially dangerous. Now we understand it's the very thing that makes you perfect partners for exploration. While your scientific precision and analytical capabilities complement our tendency to learn through trial and error, Patel agreed. Together, we're stronger than the sum of our parts. The conference room erupted in activity as both crews began planning their joint mission. Dr. Akafer and Vihara immediately dove into discussing the integration of their scientific databases, while Henderson and Kez worked on combining their defensive technologies. As the two commanders watched their crews working together, M. Hiron's neural interfaces pulsed with a new pattern, hope. You know, Captain, when we first began observing your ship, we were trying to understand what makes humans so resilient. Now I realize we were asking the wrong question. Oh, Patel raised an eyebrow, and what was the right question? Not what makes humans resilient, but what they do with that resilience. You don't just survive, you reach out, you explore, you seek to understand. Even when faced with the unknown, you choose curiosity over fear.